Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ramyza Alvazagi Andalus. I want to give a presentation about reader response interpreting the Variorum by Stanley Fish. So let's start with the first slide. Reader response theory. Reader response theory is a theory that focuses on the reader experiences and interpretations to a variety of forms of literary work. The reader has an important role to build a lot of meanings, perceptions, and better understanding along with the text that they read. Affective stylistic. For this slide, I want to explain about affective stylistic. That affective stylistic is a perspective that was created by Stanley Fish to understand and analyze the reader experience with the text. Besides, in his perspective, he focused on using the same reading and interpreting strategies to explain literary and non-literary work or sentences. Then, for the next slide, Stanley Fish's experience in his theory. Stanley realized from his experience that the actual reading experience is not the same thing as the verbal perspective of that experience. For these reasons, it means when the reader reads the text, they already have their own perception, perspectives, and thoughts. But after the process of understanding the text, it could be a little bit different since the reader wants to define everything that came out from their own thoughts. And the thing that Stanley wants to emphasize from his experience that by treating his own experience as an act of interpretation process, the gap between the reader experience and their understandings doesn't exist. As a result, the reader would create a lot of meanings from the text. For this slide, there is reader response method or characteristic that was divided into three parts. The first one is the text affect the readers in objective and subjective ways. The second is become a better critical reader. The third one is produce multiple meaning and interpretation. And let's go for the next slide. There are reading process that was divided into four parts. The first one is reader could try to read the real meanings from the text. It means that they have to guess what is the exact meaning from the text that they read. The second, highlight the important and unique elements that could be found from the text. It could be anything like vocabulary, sentences, quotes, and so on. For the third, discover lots of useful expression from the text. And the last one, create multiple meanings, perception, and perspectives. Then in this slide, I want to explain that the construction of meaning in reader response theory was divided into two parts. So the first one is aesthetic stance, and the second one is afferent stance. So aesthetic stance, it means that the readers are expected to explore a distance of potential meanings. Then the aesthetic reader itself pays attention to the qualities of the feelings, ideas, situations, scenes, personalities, and emotions that are called forth and participates in the tension conflicts, and resolution of the images, ideas, and scenes that they get from the text. So from the second one, afferent tense, it means, on the other hand, afferent tense see the readers from the creation of meaning. The readers are expected to provide a clear answer about the meaning of the text. While aesthetic tense is concerned with what readers have experienced, afferent tense is concerned with what readers draw upon in the act of reading the text. Next, in this slide, I want to explain about interpreting the Variorum. So, when interpreting the Variorum, we would talk about the literary work that came from Wolfgang Iser and Stanley Fish, that it is a result of the most significant and influential advances in reader response theory came in the work of Wolfgang Iser and Stanley Fish. For Iser, the reader is a concrete historical subject who discovers as much about themselves about the text they read. From her phenomenological study of the novel builds on the work of Roman Ingarden, told that the literary work is filled with an unexpected twists and turns, meanings, perspectives, and expressions. That means this emphasizes that the same text can create a lot of different interpretations. Like Iser, Stanley Fish believed that the reader is instrumental in the construction of meaningful text. Fish argues that the meaning derived from the literary text is the product of a joint responsibility. That means the readers and the authors both have a prominent relationship and role to the text, so that the readers could be the second author or co-author to define and explore the interpretation itself. Therefore, for literary texts itself are always interpreted within the context of rules, protocols, and norms. Next, the structure of the reader experience rather than any structure available on the page that should be the object of description. Furthermore, the reader's experience more important than the text in the way of interpreting text. In the procedures, Stanley would notice the reader's activities are at the center of attention, where they are regarded not as leading to meaning, but as having meaning. The intended readers make them capable to know what exactly the author means. And for the next slide, I want to highlight the interesting point from this theory. The interesting point from interpreting Variorum, that if the readers can overcome the difficulty from understanding the text, it is because the readers find a new strategy of interpretations. Next, the meanings generated by the readers' communities are both subjective and objective. First, they are subjective because they generally in a certain point of view and not universal. Next, they are objective because the point of view that generates the meaning is broad and common rather than private and special. Thanks for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.